Hello, and welcome to Real Life, Real Beauty, a podcast about art, everyday life, and the story behind both. There's joy to be found, something bigger, like the feeling of not being home yet. It's all around us, and while we don't have all the answers, join us as we chase the echoes of an unseen kingdom. I'm your host, Kale Summerlin, and this is episode 4. Yeah. Joining me today is Micah Lindley, a music producer, songwriter, and drummer from Chattanooga, Tennessee. Micah began releasing music 5 years ago with the help of some friends in college, and now he's married and part of a band. Today's episode is called Plaid Cows. If you're confused, you better get used to it, so let's jump in. Alrighty. Micah, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for this.
Yeah, this is great, man. So I wanted to start off by recalling a good old time at Cumberland Springs Bible Camp.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I feel like you were my counselor at some point.
I think I probably was. I know Timothy, I don't know if I can say his name.
Yeah, he's going to be
Timothy
on the show.
Conley's going to be on the show. But I remember you guys, and it's crazy to see how things have gone, how old we are now. Oh, my gosh. Okay.
We made
anyway.
a lot of short films back in the day.
We did, yeah. Don't look them up.
Yeah, don't. Oh my goodness, it was so much fun. So yeah, Micah, you're a musician.
Mm-hmm.
I love your music. It's so great, so great.
Thanks.
Yeah. So to start us off, you said that you started in college.
Yeah.
How'd you get into music? What's the story?
Okay, well, I was raised listening to music. I always loved music. I started playing drums when I was 13. Short story there, my brother was the one who owned the drum kit, but then we bought it, and then I started playing, and he picked up guitar. So I became the drummer, he became the guitarist. He still plays drums, but so always wanted to be a drummer and be in a band and play drums in a band and stuff. When I got to college, the only reason I went to college is because there was an amazing man named Jeff Ennigenberg who convinced me, hey, senior year of high school, he was like, I'm doing a songwriting class. If this is something you're really considering, come learn something new. Come learn songwriting. I'd been singing a little bit in choir. I didn't really like singing, so songwriting for me was kind of like, I don't know. But he was like, yeah, it's a skill you need to learn. Come do it. And then from that point, he talked me into going to college where I learned more about music and made friends and made a band and stuff there. I totally forgot the beginning of that question, but that's how I started. Is that what you were asking?
Yeah, that was the question. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, dude, that sounds so great. So you started. So when did you start releasing music?
Started releasing roughly 5 years ago. It was 2018? Yeah, 2018. A friend of mine, Chandler Prisk, who I'm in a band with now, he wrote and recorded an EP that he put on Spotify, which I was like, that is the coolest thing ever. I had no idea that anyone could just do that. But anyway, yeah, so he recorded it, and I think I don't know if he did it on his phone or where he did it, but I heard it, and I was like, I think I can do that too. Like, if it's so simple to release music, like, I'm going to give it a shot. Because I had been writing songs since I was in that class and stuff. So I released, so this was early 2018. I released the first EP, Am I? And a friend of mine heard it, and he was a music producer near Nashville. And he was like, hey, do you have more songs? Because I am opening a studio, or I have a studio, and I totally want to record your music. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. So we took a whole week, and I went up to his place, and we recorded Stupid Feelings, which is my second EP. I kind of consider it my first EP, because I mean, even just now I forgot about the first one I mentioned. But yeah, so Chandler Prisk was the big inspiration for starting to release music. And then I got together with Caleb Doolittle at his place to record it. And I was like, this is really fun. I want to keep doing this.
Oh, dude, that's awesome. I really love Stupid Feelings because it's very relatable. I have a lot of stupid feelings. And I remember there's this one song you have on there, Can I Just Not?
Oh, gosh.
There's this little instrument, and you brought it?
I did. I brought it.
It's dead, though.
It's
really sad.
It died. We tried to play it just now, and he's dead. So you can't hear it. But look up the automaton on YouTube, because there's people that do covers. That's where I got inspiration to use it. It was a really dumb song, an honest song, but a dumb song, and I was like, throw an automaton in there. When I sent the demo to the guys, I was like, this is crazy. Like, this is ridiculous. but here it is, and they loved it, and we had a ton of fun recording it in the studio. So.
That makes it so much worth it, though. It's such a part of the song.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you made your next album, Core, and Core is really cool. Well, actually, that's your first album. That's
first full album. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, how was the process for that?
Okay, so I had already written some of the songs for Core when I was in Stupid Feelings. We did Stupid Feelings, and all the songs were honest. Like, some of them were kind of love songs, like feelings, all the stuff that I was going through in college.
Yeah.
But then I was like, I need to be more open and honest about what I'm thinking and feeling, because there was a lot of darker stuff going on in my life in college. So Core was like a total like redirect, because it talks about like spiritual warfare and like personal struggles and all this. And then I mentioned it in a song, and truth is, I was like, hey, this album's different than the last one, but I really wanted to take a more serious tone in my music.
Yeah.
Part of it was a lot of my favorite bands were like rock bands and had more serious music. I loved orchestration, like strings and how that plays into rock music and that kind of thing. And I was like, this is the style I want to create, even though I feel like I'm probably better at more of the style of Stupid Feelings. Personally, that's what I think. So yeah, that's kind of
nice. Yeah, that kind of, so like your most recent release, Lust and Longing, kind of ties into more of these serious themes, stuff that you're passionate about, that you're speaking out against.
Yeah. So Lust and Longing, the whole concept is, as humans, there's kind of this dynamic of, well, we're all dependent. And there's kind of this range of, there's two sides of it. You have the one side, which is nearly almost negative, which is lust, whether it be sex, money, power, all the stuff that we see every day. I'm talking with my hands. I was told not to do that.
That's fine.
All the way to longing, which has negative connotations, but also can be more positive. For example, the song Longing, the ending song, is just a cry out to God of, hey, like, I know you're there, but I don't feel you. So yeah, it kind of plays in that dynamic, hits on certain points. There's only 7 songs, but I kind of try and put as much as I can into those 7.
Yeah, that's really good. So in your songwriting, what are some, so in this, like, that's been a long process, what are some joys and some difficulties? Like, what resistance have you faced? And on the flip side, what joys have you experienced through this journey?
Okay. Resistance, it's all mental. It's all up here.
I feel that.
Yeah. Because there's so many things. There's so many insecurities when it comes to my music. Part of it is, like I said, with like the styling of Stupid Feelings compared to the more heavy stuff that I'm doing now, like, I feel like I don't have a great voice to do that style. And then at the same time, like, since college, I feel like my voice has gotten weaker and I'm not like as good as a singer as I was. I play into that a little bit with some upcoming music too. And then the whole thing of like, I want to have a very definitive, clear message in my music. Like, I need people to know, like, there can't be any question in people's minds that this guy's a believer in what he talks about. Like, a lot of the songs have a double meaning. If you didn't know, with my music, all of it is very personal and honest, but at the same time, there's an underlying story in all the music. So every song basically plays into both reality and the fictional world that I created with it. But yeah, the one of the struggles there is that, so there's a double meaning, but I don't want people to, I want people to get their own meaning from the music, obviously, but I don't want anyone to have a doubt in their minds that he does not want Christ to be the goal of the music. And I made that a little bit more clear on Lust and Longing.
Yeah.
I was like, because one of the main struggles I have is rejection, obviously. I mean, that's part of us as believers in art is like the world doesn't really like how we do things. And so I want love, and I want truth, and I want Christ to be the focus of the music. But is it going to get popular if I do that? Probably not. But what's the point in popularity? There's this whole struggle with that of like, I need to be real, but also I want to make music that people are going to listen to and enjoy. But do I have to sacrifice truth to do that? So
yeah, that's a good struggle. I mean, it's hard, but it's cool that you're being intentional about it. You talk a lot about that in your songs so much. That's one of my personal favorites.
Yeah, so much was kind of, there was a transitional period in my life. I had just gotten married. We were living in Dayton, Tennessee at the time, and I had the studio. I didn't necessarily want to be a music producer at that point, but I was like, I have the tools and stuff necessary to start creating my own music. After core, things were just kind of put on pause because there was so much going on in life, and I was like, I've got all this stuff. I already had Lust and Longing basically written. I was like, I have all this stuff that I want to write and release, and now I can do it. So much was, hey, there's so much going on in my mind, so much I want to say, so much I want to scream, so much I want to just like put out. To be honest with you, the production value on so much has made me consider taking it down, which hurts because the song is very honest. And then there was a whole lot of change with after I released that song, our apartment flooded. So then I didn't have a music studio for 7-8 months. So just completely on hold. Music was put on hold. So I just kind of released that like, hey, something's coming, and then nothing ever came. So yeah, that's one reason why I was so excited for Lust and Longing and releasing it too.
Well, don't take it down. I really like it.
Okay, no, I won't. I might end up remixing it. It's just weird that because it hints at Lust and Longing, it feels weird to re-release it afterward. But I don't know. I don't want to keep remixing my music. Nothing's ever going to be perfect. I'm going to always look back on stuff and be like, this is what I want to change. This is, yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah.
I didn't really get into the simple joys part of that, but.
Oh, you can do that if you want. I lost my train of thought.
Oh, okay. Simple joys.
Or like, how is, like, simple joys and like, how has Christ met you in your music?
Yeah. So this is actually a really easy question. So some of the simple joys, I just like sounds. I love how creative we can be as humans. I love that God is so creative that in the way he designed us, we can resemble that creativity, which makes me even more excited because it shows me how creative he is. We can't even scratch the surface. But I just love playing with sounds and frequencies and stuff. It kind of blows my mind. So yeah, that's one thing. I love harmonies. I've always been able to hear harmony growing up. I think it's because I listen to a lot of Newsboys, and they have like 3 singers in the band or 4 singers in the band. Yeah. Or at the time they did. And yeah, so I love harmonies. I love things like that. Where Christ has met me in that, I always try to be very intentional. Like, I can sit down and write a song that's super honest, but anytime I'm like in doubt about something or I'm trying to work the story, the underlying storyline into things, I always turn to scripture because I want to make sure that everything is truth. That's the whole goal in my music. I want to make sure that it lines up because I use a lot of metaphors for like characters, whether they be biblical characters or ones I made up. If they're biblical characters, I need to make sure that the metaphor follows in truth. So I'm like going through scripture to make sure of that. And so that's easily where Christ has met me because I'm in his word. And oftentimes I learn something in the process of like, oh man, like this is a thought that's been on my mind, but this was not my thought. This is something from scripture, and it makes me really happy to write about it. That happened a lot with core. The Psalms are a big inspiration because a lot of times, funny how we go through stuff in life and then you look at Psalms and it's like David was thinking the same thing. I'm so glad this is here. So yeah, that's kind of a little bit about that.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, I wasn't gonna ask you this, but like, so you have like this storyline going. Like, what do you want to tell us about that? Like you have a music video. Like there is lore.
So The thing about the storyline and the lore is I don't want to tell anyone what it is.
Okay,
I want
good.
you to be able to figure it out and piece together things. I love connections in
Yes.
stuff. Like anytime there's a band that is like 21 Pilots, for example, or
Yes.
Red, or a lot of bands that I grew up with, there will be connections in music, whether it be a lyric that like they pull a lyric from one song and put it in another, which I've done, like things like that. Just I love connections, and then seeing the connections in the real world and how we view that through scripture, the lens of scripture, like connections blow my mind. So I love a well-written story. I'm a movie critic. I'm not a good one. Timothy has helped me with a lot of that. I forget what the start of the question was. Oh, the story. So the story follows a character named M. Clee Ronimos. I will say that much. He didn't even have a full name until recently. There's some stuff you can find online about him. But yeah, it follows a path runner. He is what I call a path runner, which is kind of the metaphor for a Christian in the world that he's in. Focuses on 1 Corinthians when Paul is talking about running the race. Focuses on Christ when he's saying we walk the straight and narrow path, path runner, that kind of thing. And then all through Scripture, you see paths being used as metaphors, whether it be wicked paths or righteous paths. So it all ties into that. And yeah, it's just kind of this kind of post-apocalyptic-ish world. I can't put a story or a timeline to it because it's completely fictional. But there is a timeline throughout the music that you can see. And the music video plays into all that. I'd love to keep making music videos. I have some ideas, but I just haven't been able to work on that. So yeah, if you really listen, you'll hear the connections and you'll see the connections. And yeah,
That's so great. I love that. All right, as we're wrapping up, I have one last question. So, okay, one thing that I especially love in your music is your love songs. So, like, do you want to briefly touch on those?
Yeah,
Like, I've noticed there's some connections in those too, and that's what makes it great.
yeah. So in college, see, that's the hard part, is connecting the love songs into the lore. There's a little bit of it. Some of it's pretty standalone because it's kind of hard to work that in. Plaid Cows are a part of how I tried to work that in, which we didn't talk on that. Maybe we should.
We didn't.
Yeah.
You could just leave the listeners guessing.
I could. Maybe just find me on Instagram. You'll have my socials in a minute, and you can just text me and ask me. But yeah, so the love songs, like, I really liked girls in college. Typical guy thing. So yeah, I wrote
that way.
That was a lot of the stupid feelings that were on my mind. So wrote a lot of love songs. My favorite love song that I've ever written was Lacey. I wrote a song for my wife. I showed it to her and released it the day I proposed. I've had several people tell me that's my best song, and I would agree with them because I can't recreate anything like it. But yeah, that was definitely the best. So I enjoyed writing love songs. I may do it again in the future. They may take different forms than just kind of like feeling stuff, more personal of like, I mean, we've been married over 2 years, so you'll probably see some of the stuff we've learned coming out in future love songs and that kind of thing. But yeah.
Oh, dude, that's great to hear. Is there anything else you want to touch on that like we might have missed?
There's so much. Hence the song.
Man.
Here's what I'll say. If you listen to my music, if you're a fan of my music, I love you, and I really appreciate that. That means the absolute world to me, because my music is kind of just not a hobby, but I haven't been pursuing it as much. I try to be really intentional with things, but I'm also in a band, Point of Reference, and that's kind of where my heart lies right now with what I want to pursue in the future. But I'm still doing my music on the side. I still want to create this story and keep that going because I don't want to let go of that. So yeah, check out Point of Reference. I probably should have sent you links or something for that.
Okay.
But
You can do that later.
okay.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So, random question of the day. If you could have one, like, what is a secret passion you have? Or, like, if you could have, like, a super ability? Like, what would you pick?
Oh, those are two totally different questions.
Dang it. I should have saved that for another. Okay, so we'll go secret passion.
Okay, I'll do both because the secret ability is easy. I want to be Spider-Man. That's hands down.
Yes.
Okay, so something that I kind of do on the side that I'm trying to get back into, but it costs so much money, is building lightsabers. I'm a Star Wars geek, and I love building lightsabers. And the technology we have now to bring that into real life is so cool.
LEDs.
Oh yeah. Anyway, that's
yes. Oh my
there's
gosh,
not too much to
lightsabers
it.
are lightsaber. Building lightsabers is an art form.
It
Like,
really, oh my gosh. Like,
I
I
built
follow
one.
so
It's
many
great.
people. Yeah, his is really cool. You need to check it out. But, like, I follow so many people. One guy that I followed, Genesis Custom Sabers, he's like, art you can fight with. That's his actual motto. And it's like, the stuff people create is just beautiful. So I try to do that with mine too. But anyway, that's a
Oh my
podcast of
goodness.
its own.
Well, that paper made a lot of noise.
It did.
Thank you so much for coming, Micah. This
Yeah.
has been great. Listeners, please check out his stuff. It's great. I recommend it. He obviously recommends it. Which camera? Camera 2. Alrighty. So, if you want to hear more thoughts about art, real life, and the kingdom of Christ, join us next time. We're going to have more artists, some from the film world coming soon. Be sure to follow this podcast, share it. You can find me on social media. Look up Kale Summerlin. If you don't know how to spell it, it's in the logo. And Spotify listeners, I've created a real life, real beauty playlist. You can look it up, and I'll put some of Micah's songs on there. And until later, be inspired. Support artists you know, make art yourself, and integrate some rest from the love of Christ into your routine. With that, seek out beauty in real life.